This is a Clouds weather alert.
Good Monday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center tracking a severe storm in Levy County right now. At least potentially severe. Seeing some pretty nasty indications on the Doppler. And warnings don't generally get issued as much for Levy County because the radar cover isn't as good down here. So enough confidence to actually issue a warning. So we thought we would jump on because we're seeing some pretty nasty indications that things try to come together here right now as we get closer toward Chiefland right now, especially watching that area very carefully here as we bounce between the Tampa radar and the Moody Air Force Base radar. So kind of trying to go between two different perspectives here. And right now the Moody radar is showing things a little bit worse here. And it is the one that's technically showing up maybe just a little bit closer here. It is a little bit closer for sure in terms of the distance, but it's still pretty far away. So let's go ahead and jump on over to that one right now on our analyst computer, kind of bouncing between things. I know logo's red because of what we're tracking up toward Minnesota, not this axis here, but could end up staying red because of what we could end up seeing come out of Agatha there in the Pacific. Could kind of translate into something. Now it's a 50% chance of doing that here as we look toward the Gulf of Mexico and we look toward the Sunshine State as we get ahead toward this weekend. But here's your analyst computer as we go ahead and move away now from the Earth computer. You can see some of these stronger winds here, especially as we get northeast of Chiefland even. Really seeing that here east by a little ways of Andrews and northwest of Bronson. This is showing wind over 50 miles an hour, so have to be mindful of that here as we're watching these areas. This warning issued for some of the worst over Andrews or near Chiefland, moving south at 25 miles an hour. So Chiefland, Bronson, Fannin Springs, Otter Creek, Manatee Road, and Andrews all under this warning here. I know I watch them on different platforms. I follow them on different platforms. This isn't coming up on _WX on Twitter because it doesn't have the Tampa office programmed in there. I know this is the only county like that in our covered area, but it would have really added another layer there. So that's the only county here where we have a situation like that. We rarely get warnings for Levy County, honestly, here like this, an isolated warning, but it is justified based on what we're seeing within radar. We definitely could be seeing some severe winds down toward the surface here. So got to be mindful of that here around Chiefland right now. Watching things in Levy County. You even see Bronson there. They're technically under this warning here. You can kind of see some stronger winds, maybe over 40 miles an hour in that area, according to our Doppler, depending on which mode we're using here at the present time. Definitely important to kind of just keep an eye on everything down here as things try to come together and cause some issues. We look at some of these different scans to just kind of get an idea of what's going on here. So a particularly nasty storm here in Levy County right now. This actually kind of translating on down. I know further down in west central Florida, it's been a pretty nasty day as well. I just got a gust, in fact, out of Fort Meade to 63 miles an hour. So definitely could be seeing some type of wind like that even up in here based on some of the different indications we're getting within the Doppler radar technology right now. So and the Tampa radar not showing it as strongly here. It was showing some weak rotation in northern parts there of Levy County a little while ago, but we'll go ahead and go to this the reflectivity mode on this here. As you can see, the worst of this showing up again east of Andrews, kind of, but that's north there of US 27A. So again, I'm just trying to keep you guys up to date on what's going on here in this area. So I'm going to gather new information on this, more information, and back here in just a couple minutes as we continue to track a severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Levy County.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Back here in the weather center at 7:54 now. Still watching things. A severe weather warning in play for parts of Levy County here. It goes until about 8:15. Seeing some pretty nasty echoes here within the Doppler still as we go between some different modes right now. I'll go back on over to our GR Earth computer right now. Kind of go away from the GR level 3, and you can still see quite a bit of lightning. Got to remember, whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors as we're looking towards some of these areas here to the north of Chiefland right now, especially, but even edging into Chiefland here too. Just got to kind of keep in mind what's going on here. See how much of this axis reaches down toward the surface as we look back over the last little bit, kind of seeing some of the stronger weather and here's some of the stronger updrafts with this activity. So just got to be mindful. I know I just retweeted this at cloud_WX on Twitter. Just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on over there as well, since it's in our coverage area. We'll go on over to our other mode here of Doppler, just kind of seeing where some of the wind enhancement is, going between some different things here. And I'll go ahead and go on over toward our analyst computer again. As we continue with this coverage, you can kind of see still some wind enhancement here. Right there again to the north of US 27A and to the east of US 129. So definitely some nasty weather. I know got a new warning down toward Tampa here, at least parts of Hillsborough County. Just saw a new warning issued for them. It's out of our area, but I thought I would just touch on it, seeing that nasty weather even down there. Lower parts of Manatee and Hillsborough counties, kind of interesting to see. But again, right there, just on the edge of our area, we have this warning here with some of the worst of this impacting areas on the north side per se, and to the north of Bronson and Chiefland. So I gotta continue to watch these scans here south of Trenton, see exactly what's going on here. Seeing interesting things sometimes even in correlation coefficient, maybe just indicating here the stronger accent that we're dealing with. I know it's been a pretty long day tracking things here in the weather center, but continuing to watch all this and watching things up north. I mean, we have our logo red for what's going on more up toward the north here. So let me go ahead and jump on over to our maps toward Kansas. You can see a considerable severe thunderstorm warning threat there toward parts, it looks like, Chase, Butler, and Marion counties in parts of Kansas. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, ping-pong ball size hail possible. And in this yellow area to the south is a tornado watch until 1 a.m. Central Time. And then up toward the north, you see in the purple, that's a PDS tornado watch. We've already seen some significant damage. Off toward the west, seeing some pictures and video rolling in there at some of these spots. We have one active tornado warning right now here as we're looking up south of Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Possible tornado there located over Hill City a little while ago. So something they're having to deal with. You see the north sides there of Minneapolis. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. Golf ball size hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds possible. So definitely just got to be staying weather aware here from that national perspective, but also in a local perspective. I know we had a report there of hail about 7.5 tenths of an inch in diameter there in Hihira just a little while ago in Lowndes County. So 0.75 inch size hail reported there with a storm. I know we were watching that, posting information about that on Facebook and Twitter near Hihira, and ended up seeing hail just under that severe criteria. But again, continuing to watch things here south of Trenton. You can kind of see how we've seen some different updrafts here with the storminess overall, the different areas here where we kind of see some nastier signatures, at least a little bit further up on the Doppler. You see a strong storm advisory per se toward Gilchrist County, 45 to 55-mile-an-hour winds possible there. So that's something to kind of be tracking as we get up toward that region. But again, Levy County here, we're watching stuff. It doesn't seem to want to move too much, I know, just overall. And it says south at 25, but we're really seeing some nasty weather persist here in northern parts of Levy County right now as we kind of back it up and then go forward again. This southwest of Gainesville. So if you're looking to that direction there, you might see some of this lightning that's occurring here near Bronson, near areas there around Chiefland. So this got to be continuing to take your severe thunderstorm precautions here. You see that nasty little area there try to evolve on us west of Bronson. You saw a little signature, some type of hail signature possibly in there. So kind of interesting to see there. within the Doppler radar algorithms. I know over the last hour we've seen some areas get over 2 inches of rain toward the purple storm total here. You're seeing some areas in that general range. There's some closer to 2.5, but seeing that rain kind of persist here to the west and south there of Archer and to, I guess you could say, the west and north of Williston. So I know there's a significant weather advisory for a broader area, but the more focused concern right now is from Chiefland to Bronson here in Levy County. So again, just continuing to watch the latest radar scans. It's an area that doesn't get warnings too much because harder to see or what's happening closer to the surface. So when you do get a warning, you have to be a little more careful here in toward Levy County. Just kind of be a little more on guard since you don't have quite as many, it seems, here. Just doing this in the last few years, you don't generally see these warnings get issued for the pop-up storms down that way as much. But you're just going to have to continue to watch things, looking at some products here off the Tampa radar still, watching some more wind speeds here within our different mode of Doppler, seeing some pretty nasty wind enhancement right around Bronson right now. So it could be seeing maybe power outages evolving there now. So let me go ahead and switch on over here. We'll go right into toward Bronson, into toward this area and see what's happening there. You can see as we watch our radar modes here on Doppler echo tops on those about 50,000 feet up. So very nasty situation here overall. As I'm checking some 3D things behind the scenes even. Just kind of interesting to watch. I'm going to try to do the cross section here, and then I might pop that up depending on exactly what we're seeing. So let me go ahead and go on over right now. Go on over to our GR2 cross section here. We'll go on over to that, and you'll be able to see how things are extending on a pretty nasty situation here with the structure of this. And you see how it kind of cuts off at the bottom there. Because we're not able to get that far down with what's happening toward the surface, but we kind of see what's happening there the closest we can on our radar mode. So let me go ahead and jump away from that. Well, I'll put that back up just for a second and then jump away now. As I know we have so many systems up, what's going on here up to the north. I see we just got a report in here, multiple reports there toward areas there in toward Lowndes County. Looks like, wasn't sure exactly how much of that wind was reaching. And right at the very beginning of that warning, we saw a little something pop up there near Hahira, and it kind of faded off. But it looks like about 7:30, several trees and power lines were down near Hahira in South Georgia. So you don't want to hear that, obviously. We didn't come on for that one, but we posted about that. Of course, you have those alerts, Cloud_WX on Twitter. But again, just try to keep you guys updated on what's going on here. With everything in terms of the severe weather concern, just kind of seeing how things evolve, come together, and then fall apart here and push that wind down toward the surface. So it's a tricky situation here. We try to give you guys the most advanced notice that we can, but sometimes this time of year it's just kind of hard to do that because things evolve rapidly and fall apart very rapidly as well. So still seeing some pretty nasty weather around Bronson there. In eastern parts of Levy County. In fact, let's go back over to our other mode. You can see that right near US 27A. Some nasty weather around Bronson there. That's a signature of hail, at least aloft, it looks like. Weather that's reaching down toward the surface, it looks like at least some nastier weather there west of Bronson there in part of the area. You can see that on our Moody's side. It's not as well defined, and they are a little closer to the surface, meaning it's possible that might not really be reaching on down as much, but let's go ahead and say that here as we move away now from that mode. You can see what else is happening as we get toward this area. Again, just trying to go between some of our different scans here, our different tilts really as we're watching the Doppler radar. Just trying to see exactly what is happening for everybody there at home as you really see that signature there come about now. Just try to show you guys exactly what is evolving on us. I know we're getting some power outage reports coming out of Georgia now, so let me go and pop these up here. Definitely noteworthy as we get toward Lowndes County. Nothing extreme, and you might have lost my sound there for a second. If so, I apologize. Again, going between things sometimes causes a little bit of an issue, but looking toward South Georgia, you do see 363 customers in the dark there. Not overwhelming, but there is a noteworthy number there. And then you get toward Ware County, 89 customers. Some other areas with more outages, though, in toward the state. And then Florida here, 3,920 customers in the dark. And you see here, Levy County 67 out of the last check, but Gilchrist 216, Columbia 885, and Swanee still from that accident, a nasty storminess near Branford, 880 customers in the dark at this present point. So again, just continuing to track everything here. That's still a nasty signature on Doppler radar. You don't see this all that often in Levy County here, so just have to be kind of watchful of what's going on there and to make sure it's not really causing issues. I see a report of pea-sized hail, by the way, in Marion County from a little while ago, closer toward Bellevue. Not severe. Ended up not seeing that go severe, that accident down that way at this point, but watching this accident here, getting a really nasty hail signature near Bronson. This is coming up of a stronger storm indication, at least 1.73 inches in diameter here as we get closer to Bronson now. So definitely seeing that uptick there in parts of Levy County, something again that we don't always see as much of here, in particular in this area. So just going between some different things here, watching all of our different scans for you at home. Again, this is where some of the worst of the accident is, right there around maybe the west side of Bronson. So you just have to be careful. Again, it could be displaced a little because what we're dealing with looking higher up. But again, let me go ahead and show you guys some other perspectives here. You've able to see what's going on there. You see that blackest area really above. I mean, that's not something you always see here, but definitely seems like some type of hail signature in there. Right along US 27A there as you go between Williston and Chiefland, and you just pass Bronson and you get into that nasty accident into the west. I mean, that is nasty. Hopefully it's not as bad, excuse me, as it's showing up on radar, but that seems like a hail signature that definitely could be causing at least a little bit of damage there, whether it's from the hail or actually getting that wind to kind of get down more toward the surface. That'd be a question that will hopefully get answered here. But again, this is why we're on, because that's an unusually nasty signature for that area here. So again, it's about 8:06. So at this point, I would think they'd have to keep this warning going here past 8:15. So we'll just continue to see what the Weather Service decides to do, what they talk about here. At this point, that's about the only area we're watching. I mean, there is the Gilchrist County area there that's within this kind of, but it seems like that area there not as significant looking as that area there around Bronson. Again, this is in Levy County here for perspective, southwest of Archer and northwest of Williston. Again, that is an impressive signature here on Doppler radar. So I suspect we're seeing some power outages occur right now as we get toward Bronson in parts of Levy County. So I just have to continue here. I know I kind of rambled on here at times, but it's just try to keep you guys safe. I've been here a while in the Weather Center watching things, so until I really see that threat lessen, I don't want to wrap it up here yet, because you just never know what can happen here in this scenario as we get down to the surface, because we could have some larger hail trying to get down there and maybe again cause some issues, or it could just be a burst, really a downburst of wind as we get down there in toward this vicinity. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here at 8:07. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. We don't see any tornado warnings in the country at this point, but we're still watching a bunch of thunderstorm warnings, including one just south of Wichita, and we have that into tornado watch. Let me say that to you because that's an interesting structure and some rotation. I don't want anybody caught off guard here in case this does get a tornado warning. We're seeing some rotation here as we're looking south of Wichita right now in this storm. No tornado possible tag at this point, but it's something to watch for parts there of areas of Cali, depending on how you pronounce that, Sedgwick, Butler, and Sumner counties in Kansas. So watching that, a more interesting, I guess you could see in terms of the criteria for thunderstorm warning in the north, but they actually have dropped it off since that got issues. So that's good. Go a wide ways without anything in the tornado watch area there, but then you have a PDS watch, and then you have a bunch of orange boxes, which mean considerable damage possible. And now it's a thunderstorm watch that's issued toward the east here until 2 a.m. Central Time, so more of a wind threat there further off than a tornado threat, it appears. So that's something worth noting as we're going to go back down toward the south now. Weather Service in Tampa giving us the update now that the cell in Levy is the most intense storm they've seen all day. That says something because they had a storm that produced winds at 78 miles an hour earlier down there in their jurisdiction, way out of our area, but in their jurisdiction. So that's impressive for them to say that. So we really have to be careful with this storm here in Levy County now. I mean, it's still in hail almost to 2 inches in diameter there around Bronson. Again, it may not be to that level, but again, you just never know. You got to err on that side of caution here. This is a dangerous storm in Levy County here. Continuing to see how it looks within velocity. You're not going to see as good of a velocity signature, maybe, but I mean, we're seeing winds that could be over 50, maybe 60 miles an hour there. I mean, could even be stronger than that. If we get that push of wind down toward the surface, definitely could knock out some power outages, knock out some power, cause some power outages here in toward this area. So again, just watching our different scans here, looking at all sorts of things. We're on the Moody radar, so we're looking about 9,500 feet here, and the other radar at about 13,000 feet as we're looking there between Chiefland and Bronson. So a little bit higher up on the Tampa site. So the Moody's the one we want to kind of stick with for now. Seeing some pretty impressive signatures here on Hail Tracker around Bronson, and they just had to issue a new warning now. I didn't have a choice here, it doesn't seem, because of what we're watching. Now, they're only going hail 1 inch, and it may just be 1 inch, but then that's just indicative of how strong this storm is in terms of how tall it's getting here in this setup. So this is a new warning to 8:45 for parts of Levy. It's about to pop up on this screen now. As we continue to watch this action there around the Nature Coast per se, we're just going to have to continue here to see exactly what scans show here in the covered area. I know we've been on a while, but it's worth just repeating here what's happening. The new warning isn't really much of a difference in terms of area. There it is on that map, but you still see what we're doing with it. It's adjusted things just a little to the east here. The movement there's only south at 5 miles an hour now near Bronson, Otter Creek, East Bronson, Williston Highlands here under this warning. So again, this is a nasty storm in Levy County here. I mean, this is wind that could be getting into that severe rains potentially right around Bronson. Let me go ahead and update some modes here. It didn't show as high when we adjust here for some of the wind modes here in terms of the direction and the speed. But, again, continuing here to make sure we're not missing anything, checking all of our different sources to see, and I'll go ahead and check the power outage numbers again, just kind of see what we're detecting here on Doppler radar as well. I know right now it does not look like it's headed toward Archer. Just getting a question in there, but I'll go ahead and back this up a little bit. You can see a little bit of building in that direction, so we'll see. But the worst of this, at this point at least, not directly headed toward Archer, so that's good. But again, just checking some different things here, checking some different information that's streaming on in and leaving now over 1,000 customers in the dark. So definitely onto something there as we get toward the Nature Coast. You can see 1,313 customers in the dark there in Levy County now. So definitely seeing that nastier uptick here in intensity with things. Now Gilchrist 238 customers, Swanee 548, Columbia a little over 1,000 there, but percentage wise comparing things, it's actually, I mean, it's already a higher number in Levy, but quite a bit bigger percentage. You can tell by the coloration here that this goes off of. Even still a few outages in Jefferson from some action we were watching earlier there. 50 customers in the dark. And then let's go to Georgia. We'll go to some of the outages up that way. And it looks like Lowndes County actually over 1,000 now. 1,000 looks like 1,314 customers in the dark there, but none in Eccles with the latest information. So again, still watching this. Eventually it's going to weaken on down and we'll wrap this up. But we're still going to continue to watch. I know it's all about the hit or miss action here sometimes that we deal with in summertime. Some areas get really bad weather, but other areas not so much. So you just have to kind of bear in mind here what's happening within Doppler radar. So earlier hail was still closer to 2 inches. Granted, it might not have been that big, probably wasn't, but that's just an indicator we can kind of use to see how strong things are here, how nasty things are building on up. But now at this point, just showing 1.3, so maybe getting some of that surge of wind still trying to occur down toward the surface here in this type of environment. So we're going to go ahead and check now. I'm going between Tampa radar. I'm going between the Moody radar here, just trying to see exactly what everything's showing. We're actually seeing, looks like a little bit of rotation here in Gilchrist County. That's kind of interesting. This isn't warned, but let me go ahead and go up here. Let me see what this is detecting here as we pop it up. You see a little bit of greens and reds trying to come together there in Gilchrist. Sometimes you can get that. Nothing too impressive, but maybe some wind trying to surge down to the surface a little bit there in Gilchrist. Maybe in that 40 to 50 range. We'll see if the weather service thinks is enough to issue some type of thunderstorm warning over the next little bit or not. But more concerned down toward Levy County at this point. Again, just going between all of our different scans because those can be helpful here for me to kind of see what's happening, at least the best we can see here within everything. So, again, it's been a very busy Memorial Day here in the Weather Center, just trying to keep you guys up to date here on what's going on. I know we could end up having a busy weekend ahead, maybe with whatever comes of Hurricane Agatha there in the Pacific. Could end up seeing some of that try to work its way, at least parts of it, parts of the moisture maybe toward Florida here, another named storm, maybe coming to Alex, we'll see, toward parts of the Sunshine State, maybe central South Florida, according to some model indications here this weekend. So I'll keep you updated. Logo red right now for areas to the north and the northern part of the country. Probably can turn that back to the normal color for that pretty soon, but I could end up in a situation where we end up having to keep it red here or turning it back red again for what happens there with Agatha maybe going toward Alex here eventually in the timeline. So again, this isn't from that, but we're just watching some of this storminess around Bronson. That's still pretty nasty, and our radar now kind of at least trying to show, you know, it's maybe it's trying to show moving west, but the official text says it moving south at 5. Pretty radical movement here nonetheless in this area, and that's another signature of some type of hail, at least aloft there, when you have that area and correlation coefficient co-located like that. I mean, it's in a tornadic situation here. It shouldn't be, and that's what that would be indicative of. I know seeing a little bit of broad something there in Gilchrist on that radar too, and just kind of looking here now. Just always interesting to watch our different scans here. Go between some of the different tilts. I'm doing that right now, actually, behind the scenes. So, definitely an impressive storm tonight in Levy County here as we get down toward those areas. Just want you guys to know what's happening there around Bronson. The worst is more around Bronson now than Chiefland. So, that's something to kind of make note of here as we're watching things. As we're watching things closer toward Bronson versus the Chiefland area. Looking at some different things still. I know it gets confusing. ZDR, correlation coefficient, things like that. It just kind of helps me understand what's going on here. But I know some of our hail size here, potential severe hail, so there's over a 50% chance of severe hail there around Bronson right now. So at least could have some hail there in that range. But again, it could be more about the wind potential knocking out some power there in Levy County. So going to check our numbers. I don't think we have any new outage numbers yet, but I may just go ahead and check the sources here because I feel like this storm could be causing some issues. I see a Central Florida Electric Cooperative there that have the outage concern, and the outage is there in Levy right now. So I'm going to go to their website directly and see what's happening. I'll go ahead and see what's happening with them if I can. Looks like not coming up right away here, but okay, that's not coming up at this point. But again, we're going to continue to watch that. See if Clay Electric has any. They do cover a few folks over there, but there weren't any outages in that area as of last check. Still none, so that's good. There are some in Columbia County, though, in their area, so that's interesting to see. But they're south of Lake City. But again, just watching here, everything is happening. We'll go to the country view of the power outage numbers. I know you might hear my voice skipping in and out sometimes. I apologize, but just going between all of our different sources. Got a little much here on right now. But again, you see Minnesota, 59,752 customers in the dark. That's where the worst of the severe weather in the nation's been. But you see Georgia, over 8,000 customers in the dark, and in Florida there over 4,000, nearly 5,000 customers in the dark. As we continue to track the numbers, again over 1,000 in Levy County and over 1,000 in Columbia County right now. So definitely seeing higher concentration of some nastier weather in toward those two zones, Swanee and Gilchrist as well, though. Seeing some of the action too, Swanee, Brantford especially. And then as we look right now, I think this storm may be starting to weaken some now. It would make sense at this point. It's still showing up a little bit stronger, some other modes, but we're starting to see a positive trend here with this. So that's good news. A positive trend here. Again, mentioning about Archer, it looks like this might kind of build that way in a way, but the worst of this is headed and impacting more of those and toward Bronson there in Levy County. So again, gonna continue here to watch these scans. If this starts getting under and into it, indicate to me that the threat here is still there, but it wouldn't last for too much longer probably in this area as the winds maybe try to kind of cause a few more issues as this tries to eventually fall apart here as we're getting in that sunset time range now. So that's something they definitely factor in here on this Monday, on this Memorial Day evening. We're back with you again with more coverage like we've been doing here the last 35 minutes or so. I know we've been watching a warning down toward Hillsborough County. They dropped Manatee, but again, this is our far southwesternmost county here, I guess you could say, in toward north central Florida, however you want to say it, because the way we cover things, it's the only county not out of the Tallahassee or Jacksonville Weather Service office that we cover. So it makes things interesting. I mean, they cover more of those counties for the Tampa market there and the Fort Myers market. But they do cover this county here that slips into toward the Gainesville market to some extent as well. So I just got to be kind of mindful of that, what's going on. But we're seeing that core kind of weaken now around Bronson, so that's good. Still could be producing some wind damage though, and maybe some hail in there. Probably not as big of hail potential here, but some lightning here in this area as well. Again, it's more about, even though you see the hail signature, it's more about the wind that could come out of this here based on what we're seeing with the storm building up and then falling apart. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. This storm does seem to be weakening on down now. We still have to watch it though. Still have to see if we get any type of burst of wind there that could cause issues around Bronson over the next few moments. But we've given you that heads up. We've been guiding you through this over the last little bit, a long-term type thing here. We're looking towards State Road 24 right now and US 27A as this kind of slides south a little bit here in this area. So watching Levy County, but we're going to look at correlation coefficient. It's harder to see stuff, and still see some type of wind signatures that aren't the best, but we just have to be kind of careful. Got to be protecting yourself here. Remember again that lightning danger is so concerning here. Anytime really, whenever you hear that thunder, you just got to be on guard here in these type of scenarios. So kind of watching here. I'll back it up a little bit. You have that issue again. We're getting a little bit of interference there. Unfortunately, that range there just really kind of gets us, honestly, that purple haze. You can see just we're not getting a good signal, but again, just trying to see what's going on down here. It seems like we're seeing that weakening. Still could be severe though around Bronson. We'll give you the heads up. The warning does continue to 8:45, so still in play. I know whether this is in Tampa, Ruskin, still watching this here. Hopefully, we'll have to extend this. We'll monitor it. If we get another warning, we'll come back with some type of post at least, maybe on the air. We'll see. This depends. Probably a post. I actually don't think at this point we'd get another warning for this, because this warning still goes out for another 22 minutes, and by then hopefully can't guarantee it because of boundaries and stuff. But this time of year, probably, and this time of day, probably decayed enough here where it wouldn't require a new warning. I wouldn't think at this point, because we're seeing that downtick here in intensity, but still have that lightning. Still a lot of lightning still up on another product here as we go back on over to that. So frequent lightning here in some of these areas. So just have to be watching there, looking southwest of Gainesville. It's definitely pretty rocky out there tonight. But right now, that's going to go ahead and do it for the cover. If I need to come back on, we will. But otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with more weather information from the Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud. Thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me.